Cheeks.
Robertson spurs the Spurs with quick hands and legal larceny, setting the Spurs in motion, supplying the key assist to most of the point payoffs off the break. For the Sixers, Mo Cheeks supplies the steals, the blocks, and the assists. So expect some light-fingered fandangos in the shadow of the Alamo as the Sixers stalk the Spurs tonight in San Antonio.
Cheeks back to Doc. Big court shot. Oh, and there it is! Not that! Julius Erving, a three-pointer! No good for Pearson. A rebound by Barkley. Now the Sixers are starting to dominate the boards, too. Here goes Charles. Good, and he's fouled!
Welcome to 76ers basketball on Channel 17, Philadelphia's award-winning sports station. Tonight, two of the NBA's point guards go head-to-head as Mo Cheeks meets Alvin Robertson, and the Sixers challenge the Spurs from Hemisphere Arena in San Antonio. And now, here's Bob Bradley.
The Sixers meet the Spurs tonight down in San Antonio, and they're hoping to bounce back. Hi, welcome to Center Court. I'm Bob Bradley. Well, this might be the place, the Hemisphere, for the Sixers to bounce back after their two-game losing streak, because the Spurs are a struggling ball club, have a lot of young talent, but they are 17 games back of the team that the Sixers play tomorrow night, the Dallas Mavericks. As for the Sixers, they have some problems as well. Their problem will be numbers tonight, because the doctor, Julius Erving, and Cliff Robinson expected to miss tonight's ball game, so that's going to require some very productive performances from all the healthy 76ers. Let's swing courtside now and call in Andy Musser and Gene Shue. Andy, Andrew Toney has enjoyed a resurgence over the past few games, but he seemed to jam his foot the other night in the game against Atlanta. You think he's going to be ready to go tonight?
I think he is, Bob. I think the couple of days off have helped him quite a bit. And, of course, the outside shooting of Toney is an ingredient the Sixers really missed in the early part of the year. The way he's been scoring points lately, you can't underestimate exactly what that's done for this team.
And, Gene, we mentioned that the Spurs are really very far off the pace in their Midwest division. What do you think are their problems this season?
Well, let me say first, this team won 7 games in a row before the All-Star break. They're now on a string where they've lost 7 out of 8 games. Obviously, this team is an inconsistent shooting basketball team. They really lack a star that can carry this team night in and night out.
You know, Gene, they have one thing that no other team in the league has, though, and that is 3 rookies who are #1 draft choices. How are they getting along?
Well, I think they're doing quite well. They might have a steal on this Berry. The guy can really score. He has some defensive deficiencies. In Dawkins, they have a player who he's too small to be the scoring guard. They're trying to switch him over to the point spot. And in Anthony Jones, they have a fine defensive player who has a chance to be a player.
Here in San Antonio, fans disappointed that they're not going to get to see Doc play tonight, but they are going to honor him shortly.
Very good. Thank you very much, gentlemen. We want to take a look at the highlights from the last meeting of these ball clubs back on the 7th of November here at the Spectrum. Spurs are denied by a Roy Hinson block, and that set up the doctor on his rounds. But Julius, who scored 23 points that night, will not play tonight. Spurs still getting organized as a team. Make way for that rookie, Johnny Dawkins. He averages in double figures. Also clear the decks for the Sixers' lone rookie, David Wingate. He left an impression on the Spurs, scoring 14 points that night off the bench. The old vet in the San Antonio lineup, 37-year-old Artis Gilmore. Only Kareem is older. Artis still battles for his points, collecting here on a follow-up. More veteran help up front will come from David Greenwood. He can rebound and score, and now he's vying for honors with another rookie, Walter Berry, up front. The key in this ball game, the play of Mo Cheeks, stealing, scoring, and dishing off 18 assists. He will be busy again tonight. Johnny Moore, a big night in the San Antonio backcourt. He's been battling injuries all season. Still managed to score 20 that night. Not enough. The Sixers won the ball game anyway. Coming up, the best in the NBA, the Sixers tonight against the San Antonio Spurs, right after this.
Your veteran guard, number 14, is Steve Coulter. Out of Utah, 5-year veteran forward, 6'8", number 20 is Danny Vrains. Out of Wake Forest, his second year in the NBA, forward, 6'7", number 21 is Kenny Green. From Georgetown, in his first year, plays guard and forward, 6'5", number 25 is David Wingate. Starting lineup tonight for the Sixers, an 8-year veteran from West Texas, State at guard, 6'1", number 10 is Maurice Cheeks. Out of southwestern Louisiana, 6-year veteran guard, 6'3", number 22 is Andrew Toney. From Rutgers, a 3-year veteran forward, 6'9", number 23 is Roy Henson. Beginning his 3rd year from Auburn forward, 6'6", number 34 is Charles Barkley. And out of Michigan, a 2-year veteran center at 7 feet, number 40 is Tim McCormick. Sixers are coached by Matt Gucas, assisted by Jim Lyman and John.
Sixers go with Barkley and Henson at forward, McCormick at center, Cheeks and Toney at guard. Matt Gucas, who just celebrated his 43rd birthday yesterday, is the coach, assisted by Jimmy Lynam and John Gabriel, with Al Domenico as the trainer. Now let's go with the Spurs.
In his first year from Nevada, Las Vegas, guard 6'6", number 11 is Anthony Jones. In his first year from Duke, 6'2", guard number 24, Johnny Dawkins. Out of Kansas State, a 3-year veteran forward, 6'7", number 32 is Ed Neely. From Auburn, an 8-year veteran forward, 6'7", number 34 is Mike Mitchell. In his first year from Montana, forward 6'10", number 42 is Larry Kurtzowiak. And a 2-year veteran from Penn State, center 6'10", number 43 is Frank Frykowski. Starting lineup tonight for the Spurs from Missouri, 3-year veteran guard, 6'2", number 20, John Zunbo. Beginning his 3rd year from the University of Arkansas, guard 6'4", number 21, Alvin Robertson. In his first year from St. John's, forward 6'8", number 6, Walter Berry. And a 7-year veteran from UCLA, forward 6'9", number 10 is David Greenwood. And a starting center, 15-year veteran from Jacksonville, 7'2", the A-train, number 53, Artis Gilmore. Spurs are coached.
The Spurs with Walter Berry and David Greenwood at forward, Artis Gilmore at center, Alvin Robertson and John Sunbold manning the guard spots. Bobby Weiss is in his rookie year as coach of the Spurs. He's assisted by Lee Rose, and the trainer is John Anderson. Earl Strom and Terry Durham are going to work the game tonight. And let's go out courtside now as Terry Stembridge is going to MC the ceremonies honoring Julius Erving. Terry, a former announcer for the Spurs, he's now in the oil business.
We are a long way from tip-off time. When you have just one night to spend with a doctor, you want to make it a good one. An American novelist once said, "You can't go home again," but I think you can, because when your heart is still here in the arena with the wild and wonderful and wacky fans of the San Antonio Spurs, you know you can go home again. And I'm glad to be back tonight, and I'm very privileged to be a part of this bittersweet evening of honor and remembrance for one of the great players in the history of basketball. We honor and we remember tonight a running wind that blew up out of the American Basketball Association 16 years ago and that swept everything in its path. That wind was known as Julius Erving, Dr. J. In 26 cities across the United States, pro basketball teams are paying their last respects to Julius Erving. And well, they should. For over the last 16 years, he has been a dominating talent. And in the early 1970s, he probably more than any player revolutionized the game. He started playing above the rim. He started playing above the rim, and he started doing things and creating things on a basketball floor that had never been done before. He brought stability and respectability to the American Basketball Association. And then after the merger, he led the NBA into a golden and mature age of excitement. I know that these honors will touch Julius Erving in all of these cities. They're well-deserved, and he will appreciate them. But I have a feeling that Philadelphia notwithstanding, that Julius Erving feels more at home and more proud of the honors in cities like Denver, Indianapolis, New York, and San Antonio. For it was in these cities of the old American Basketball Association, playing with the New York Nets and the Virginia Squires, that he did some of his greatest work. And he made his nickname, Dr. J, the most famous moniker in all of sport. In looking back over some old broadcast scripts, something that I had written in 1979 during the Philadelphia-San Antonio playoff series of that year, I was amazed at how undated it was, and if you will permit me, I would like to share with you what I said on that night. There is a mellow timbre to the deep voice of Julius Erving. His voice will capture you. He speaks with candor and intelligence. He accepts praise gracefully and shares the spotlight. He always senses the nuances of the moment, articulates his positions with sincerity and confidence. There is always pride in what he says, but he never offends. He has, to my knowledge, never said, "I am the best player," only that each time out, I try to play the perfect game. Not that I am perfect, but that I labor for perfection. The doctor is 29 years old. His knees are tender from so many nights of spacewalking, of so often hitchhiking among the stars. Well, that was written 8 years ago, and a lot of people were thinking at that time that Julius Erving might be about to retire. They kept asking, is he through? Julius answered those people by playing on and on and on until the cumulative impact of his career tonight is really staggering. 16 years in professional basketball, 16 All-Star games, MVP of the NBA All-Star Game, MVP of the American Basketball Association All-Star Game. He won 2 championships with the New York Nets in the American Basketball Association and one with the Philadelphia 76ers in the NBA. He was All-Pro on countless occasions, All-Silver Anniversary Team, all whatever. The career of Julius Erving, San Antonio Spurs, and the American Basketball Association they are linked together forever. For example, Easter Sunday, 1976, the San Antonio Spurs and the New York Nets were playing in this building. The Spurs were leading the series 2-1, and almost on the very spot that I'm standing, George Karl, now the coach of the Golden State Warriors, and Brian Taylor precipitated one of the longest running fights, one of the wildest fracas in the history of pro basketball, and I'm sure many of you remember that Easter Sunday afternoon. It was on national television. Everybody got into the act. It was a wild fight that went on, and even a classy guy like Dr. J got in there and took a swing at Tom Owens. But late in the game, George Gervin grabbed the winning rebound. The Spurs were about to go up 3-1. He had the winning rebound when Brian Taylor pushed George from out of bounds, punched the ball out of his hands into the hands of guess who? Julius Erving. He swept to the basket, dunked the ball over Kobe Dietrich, was fouled. The San Antonio Spurs went down to defeat. The New York Nets won the championship in 7 games. And if Dr. J saved the New York Nets on that Sunday afternoon, he also saved the American Basketball Association in 1974 and 1975. He could have defected, and if he had defected, the American Basketball Association might have been gone with the win. But Julius stayed and said, what can I do? How can I help? He probably saved the league and made the merger possible 3 years later. And then when you speak of Dr. J, you have to think of another 8th wonder of the offensive world, and that's George Gervin. Can you believe that George Gervin and Dr. J were teammates on the Virginia Squires? They played together, and you and I were privileged on so many nights to see these 2 great offensive players in so many bloodlettings. Ice and the doctor at work against each other. But perhaps the finest moment for Julius Erving, as far as the American Basketball Association is concerned, occurred in Atlanta the year after the merger, when Julius Erving, who had been the most visible player of our league, stood up at the All-Star game when there was still a little bit of tension because the NBA at that time didn't realize what a value the ABA was going to be to the league, and there was still a little rancor. And Dr. J could have forgotten about the ABA and passed it by. But to his everlasting credit, he stood up, spoke of the ABA, and he named 11 of the 22 players that were at the table that night as being members of the ABA the year before. It was a magnificent and unforgettable gesture. So for all of us who are members of the ABA, we honor and remember Julius Erving. He carried our banner well. The ultimate reality was, whether he was in New York red, white, and blue or Philadelphia red, he was a comrade in arms. He was the greatest soldier of our lost league, and I think the greatest blend of talent and integrity of heart and humanity ever to play in the NBA. There's another player here tonight whose career began the same year as Julius Erving, 16 years ago. He was Rookie of the Year that year. Ladies and gentlemen, he's one of the incomparable gentlemen and players in the game, the center of the San Antonio Spurs, Artis Gilmore. At this time, I'd like for Artis to join the player of the old league, Julius Erving, Dr. J.
Thank you very much. And thank you, Terry. You bring back a lot of memories from the ABA, and it's really fantastic. Look around and see so many of the old players, Mike Gill, James Silas, and so many others who participated in the ABA in those fantastic years. Julius and I had an opportunity to sit for a little while and reminisce about some of the old things that happened during that period and during that era. Julius, I'm really happy to call you a friend and a great competitor on the floor. It's been fantastic competing against you, and I'm really, once again, really happy to say thank you, friend. Okay.
Julius, we're going to give you an opportunity to respond here in a moment, but first, on behalf of the San Antonio Spurs, I'd like to make some presentations to you tonight. We know that you're a Northeasterner up there in Philadelphia, and we want you to have a little bit of Texas with you up there in Philadelphia. And Vaqueros of San Antonio here have made you a pair of custom-made, real, live San Antonio cowboy boots. And to go with it, a belt with a silver belt buckle engraved in gold that says simply, The Doc. And now I'm not sure whether there are going to be many PhDs and doctors in Philadelphia with custom-made Texas cowboy boots from the heart of the San Antonio. And if you're wondering about both boxes, it's not that they made him two pair of cowboy boots, it's simply that the boots were so big they needed a box for each boot. Art is always a great way to commemorate a special event, and this is a special event. And Todd Gold of San Antonio has commemorated this evening, and it'll long be with Dr. J as he is here in this drawing. This is the original, of which so many of you received prints tonight. They will be wonderful souvenirs of the evening with the doctor. And on it you will notice that these names will ring wonderful memories. Bobby Jones, Dan Issel, George Gervin, David Thompson, the Whopper, Billy Pulse, Artis Gilmore, the Iceman, and also Louis Dampier, Little Louis, and James Silas. And George McGinnis. Speaking of George Carl, he always seemed to be in the fracases. I remember George McGinnis running over George Carl down here one afternoon also. You know, there have been great players before Dr. J, and there will be great players after Dr. J. And a lot of people will argue as to who was the best. But I think you and I probably know who the best was, and also that he brought to the game great intelligence and skills on the floor. But really, wherever he went in life, he had the courage to be a hero. He had the strength to be honorable and loyal. He had the wisdom to be kind and generous. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the doctor we honor tonight, Julius Erving.
Thank you, Terry. Yes. Thank you, Terry, very, very much. Thank you, artists, Bob Bass, members of the Spurs organization, their owners, Red McCombs, Angelo Drosos, certainly our officials tonight, certainly my teammates, the Philadelphia 76ers, and our coaches. Thank you for your patience and your indulgence through all of this. I know you came to see basketball tonight, but this is a part of basketball, and it's my wish that each and every player here could go through something like this before they leave the sport of basketball, which has been wonderful for me, for 16 great, beautiful, wonderful years. And in all of those 16 years, I've been able to come to Texas and be treated to the Texas hospitality and had the support of the fans here and in the other cities in Texas. And I say here in the other cities because this franchise used to be in Dallas before they moved here. And you've supported me tremendously well, and I am full of thanks for that. I'd like to say that I truly appreciate the new boots. I probably could wear them tonight. They go with the suit that I have on, which coincidentally happens to be the Spurs colors. Someone reminded me of that when I walked out. I didn't plan it, so I can't take credit for it, but it is a coincidence. The belt is very, very flashy. Maybe the next trip to Texas, I'll wear it. I don't think I'm going to wear it around Philadelphia too much. And the painting, which, as Terry was saying, has an all-star team on it, all of its own, will be something that I'll be able to proudly display in my home and will always be a reminder of my ABA days and my NBA days and the time that I spent coming into Texas and competing. In closing, very briefly, let me just say that I have a lot of great experiences in this building. There were a lot of great shootouts, certainly playing against the run-and-gun Spurs of the early and middle 70s. As a matter of fact, the run-and-gun Spurs were so good and scored so many points that I remember very distinctly reading one day that the roof had been removed from this building so that it could be raised and some more seats could be added on to accommodate the fans in the city who love their Spurs. And although this has not been a typical Spurs season, I wish that all of you could continue to support this franchise. You have a great bunch of guys. You have a great organization. They need you. And let me just say that I'm most thankful to God Almighty for walking down this road to me, which has been a 16-year career with many trials and tribulations and many ups and many downs, but through it all, I knew that all things were possible with faith and belief in God. And He's here right now, and I hope that I can be a humble representative of His at this time in which I am being honored. Let me pass on the glory to God and just say in closing, thank all of you, and God bless all of you. And enjoy the game. It's going to be a great event. Thank you.
Well, there's no doubt that the fans here really got into this. For a guy who never played as a member of the hometown team, it's obvious that San Antonio fans really appreciate Julius Erving.
I think, Andy, it's something special for these ABA cities. Doc, I think most of the people here feel that he's like one of their own, having played in that league when it was struggling along, and a lot of things that were said. Doc was one of the great players in that league and was responsible, I think, for the success of the league.
No question about that, and I think Terry Stembridge made that clear in his remarks. I believe, too, Gene, that the fact that Julius is hurt and unable to play right now makes him appreciate what is happening even more, because he can kind of like sense the end. You know how it is when you can't do what you want to do, and he can't right now because of the injured finger. I think he can feel the end coming so much quicker, don't you?
I think so, too. That's a good point. When you're not playing, you can just sit back and reflect on what's happening.
Participating advertisers of 76ers basketball are True Value Hardware, more than just...
Second leading scorer was. That was one of the trivia questions one time. Al Addles.
That's right. Well, we're here at courtside, and they're continuing with the music video honoring Julius Erving, and all the players are intent on watching this on the screen above us here. We were told, incidentally, that while this was on, the players were going to warm up, but that hasn't happened. So we're going to be very, very late with our game tonight.
Well, this will be fun, too, because we can sit and talk. We don't hardly ever have a chance. You know, talking about Wilt again in that game, Wilt was one of the very poor free throw shooters, as we all know. But in that game, he made most of his free throws.
28 for 32. That's incredible that he would do that, and that, too, is a record which has not been broken. And the interesting thing is to hear Wilt talk about that night. He was not feeling well. He almost didn't make the game. He was living in New York at that point and coming to Philadelphia, and almost missed the bus to Philadelphia, and just got there and actually was out playing a pinball machine in the foyer in Hershey Arena prior to the game. So his mind wasn't entirely on basketball that night.
So are you suggesting that the players should play pinball machines?
Once again tonight are a little bit shorthanded. It looks as though the Spurs are at full strength. But, Gene, it's interesting that Johnny Moore, who apparently has recovered from desert fever, still doesn't play much these days.
Johnny, he's still suffering the effects of that illness. Since his return, he has lost his first step. He used to have a very good first step, lost some of his quickness, and just is not the same player.
Well, the players have been given just a couple of minutes to warm up here. And Phillipsburg, New Jersey says farewell to Doc. We ran into a lot of Philadelphians here tonight, including Bob Wilson over at the hotel. He's from Springfield, Pennsylvania, and says hello to the folks back home. Well, the New York Knicks, led by their own twin towers of Patrick Ewing and Bill Cartwright, make their final appearance of the season March 4th at the Spectrum. The first 6,000 youngsters, 16 and under, receive an official life-size Dr. J growth chart, courtesy of Coca-Cola. Sixers in the midst of a 4-game road trip right now. They have dropped their last 2 games, the final home game against the Lakers in overtime Sunday, and game 1 of the trip in Atlanta on Monday night. The trip continues tomorrow night to Dallas, and then to Houston on Sunday afternoon before the Sixers return home. Gene, what's the key to this one tonight?
I think the key is for the Sixers to have a good defensive game. They want to punch the ball down low. They're going to have to control Gilmore. This team is one of these teams, they play great at times, and then they just don't do the job. If they're on, the Spurs can be tough.
Sixers have had 2 good days off, and I'm sure that the legs will feel a little bit better here tonight. Gilmore and Hinson to jump it. Strom to put the ball in the air. He works with Terry Durham. And the Sixers win the tip as it goes over to Andrew Toney. Here's Cheeks out on the circle. Sunvold guards him. Toney, constant movement along the baseline. And the pass comes into Barkley. Gukas already screaming for an illegal D. Toney's first shot, no. McCormick works, and he's hammered inside. Tim McCormick, fouled by Gilmore, will go to the free throw line.
Good hustle rebound by Tim McCormick. What happened on that play? The Spurs really ended up 2 players playing 1. Got a little fouled up on their defensive assignments.
72% for McCormick from that foul line. Tim coming off an off game in Atlanta where he scored only 4 points, but he had a great game against the Lakers.
I look for the Sixers to go away from that matchup with Gilmore in the game. They'll probably be going more to Barkley and Hinson in the post-up situations.
Now here's Sundvold bringing it up. Is he considered to be a true point guard, Gene?
No, he isn't. He gets the most out of his talent. He really doesn't have point guard skills.
Berry with the left-handed jump shot, and he hits it. Rookie Walter Berry, who had a terrible start with Portland, but seems to have found a home here. Spurs lead it 2-1. Cheeks at the controls for the Sixers. And here's Tony. He is guarded by Robertson. He'll have to be careful of Robertson. He leads the NBA in steals. Barkley in the post against Greenwood. 5 on the timer as Cheeks fires and puts it in.
And that's where Robertson is so good as a weak side defensive player. He really does a good job doubling the post and picking up loose balls. Great at stealing the basketball.
Spurs commit the first turnover of the game, and the Sixers back in business here. Tony, who's been piling up quite a few assists lately in addition to his rejuvenation in the scoring column. Barkley works for room, bangs against Greenwood, and banks it in.
And Greenwood did an excellent job there, using his body to try to keep Barkley out. Barkley's just a little bit too strong.
So the Sixers lead it 5-2. Sundvold goes into Greenwood. Hinson plays him, blocks him off on the baseline, and the Spurs have to move it back and set it up again. Sundvold throws up an air ball, and Tony gets a hand on it, then goes out of bounds, so San Antonio retains it.
And the ball did not hit the board, and the 24-second clock changed over, so Earl's taking care of that problem right now.
And let's see where he puts it. He's going to run it down, and let's see where they stop it. They're still running it down to 10. Give him 10 seconds. Sundvold, a pretty good shooter, gives it up to Greenwood. Here's Sundvold getting the shot away with 3 on the timer, and he hits it.
And how can you hit air on one shot and then just nothing but net on the second? That's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I guess he's more accustomed to shooting straight on. Sundvold is a pretty good shooter, though. Here's the lob inside to Tony for a quick turnaround. This one doesn't go. Gilmore for the rebound. Have to wonder whether Artis might not be in his last season. This is his 16th year, and he's 37 years of age. Greenwood blocked from behind and got away with it.
He does have 1 more year on his contract, and my guess is that he'll return.
Guess you've seen the figures on that contract, huh?
I spent some time with Artis this past summer.
Illegal D. Robertson caught out of position. Here's Bobby Weiss. He was an assistant of yours at one stage.
Yes, Bobby did an outstanding job. Really a great assistant coach, and he has a very tough job here, Andy.
You got to hope he has a multi-year contract. How about our good friend John McLeod?
I don't. This coaching is crazy the way it works nowadays.
John's out of work, and Dick Van Arsdale takes over that club.
That's a good sign, though, for announcers.
4 on the timer, 3, and here's a steal. Here come the Spurs with a chance to run. Pop-up shot by Sundvold, no good. There's a fast break opportunity, and they didn't take it on in. Now McCormick with Gilmore, squares on him. Head fakes him, gets Gilmore in the air, and Gilmore got a piece of it. Spurs with a running opportunity once more. And Walter Berry.
Now, Walter Berry has been some pleasant surprise. The guy can just flat out score. He's not a good outside shooter, Andy, but he just takes the ball to the basket, has great spin moves off the dribble.
You have to wonder why he got off to such an inauspicious... There's an offensive foul. Why Berry got off to such a bad start at Portland.
Well, the rumor was, and not the rumor, what was reported in the paper, the guy just didn't want to practice. He wouldn't do anything that the coach asked. Now, these two players have been going at it right from the beginning, Greenwood and Charles.
Charles calling the foul. We charge the Sixers with a turnover. Running one-hander is no good for Robertson, but we have a Sixer foul. This will be on Andrew Toney. Well, that's the first team foul on the Sixers.
This is what Alvin Robertson really likes to do, take that ball to the middle. He has good first step off the dribble. The defense of the Sixers, they collapsed in there, but he was grabbed on the way in.
Robertson leading the league in steals with 3.44 a game. He had 10 of them in one game against the Clippers this year. That's the highest single steal game in the NBA this year.
The best part of his defense is the weak side player, Andy. He does not play like Cheeks, as far as playing his player.
McCormick in the lane, no good. Greenwood for the rebound. At halftime tonight, we're going to have a feature on the very gifted Alvin Robertson.
Yeah, there are not many players like Cheeks, though, that can play his player and then also be a weak side player.
Here's Berry with Barkley. And Berry with that left-hander.
And that's his move. He's going to put it down on the floor to the left almost every time and then spin back, and he looks like he throws it in.
Spurs up by 5. It's 10-5. We're still in the first quarter. In case you joined us late, we started late because of the ceremonies honoring Doc. Robertson got a piece of that, and Earl Strom blows the whistle.
At the start of this game, the Spurs are coming into the game with the idea that they weren't going to double right away just to see what happens. And you can see in this situation, when Hinson turned out, there was some help there.
Hinson, who lost all or parts of 7 teeth last Wednesday against Golden State. He's going to have some big dental bills coming up. 1 out of 2 for Roy, who is averaging 14 points a game. The Spurs lead at 10-6. The Sixers won the game at Philadelphia back on November 7th.
This is so important, the way Cheeks is overplaying Sunvol, because now they have to get into their offense with Greenwood. And there isn't a team that likes to do that.
Artis feeds back off the post. And we've got a holding foul, says Strom. McCormick caught holding Gilmore.
Yeah, Artis is one of the best at making that quick outlet pass and then taking a deeper offensive position. And that's what every post player should try to do. Once you make that pass out, come back deeper into the post to receive it.
Gilmore goes in gear. There's his hook shot. He puts it in. He looked like Kareem on that one. The veteran Gilmore, whose average is down to 11 points a game. He's a 19-point career scorer. McCormick wide open, and he puts it in. Tim adding some range to his jump shot. Spurs lead at 12-8. Robertson thinks about the shot, but waits for the Spurs to get in gear. Berry spins inside. There he goes again. Berry has made 3 or 4 of those spin moves already.
Yeah, he has a way of getting the ball in the basket. The guy's a scorer. He knows how to get it in.
He has 4 field goals, the top scorer in the game. And the Spurs lead it by 6. Cheeks takes Sunvol low. And Maurice makes a rare bad pass. Robertson into Greenwood. Jump shot over Hinson is air ball. We've seen the Spurs throw up a couple of them. Penetration by Cheeks, broken up by Berry. And we have a timeout called by San Antonio. Oh, you're keeping paint points tonight, huh? All right.
You do like to get those shots in close to the basket.
Sixer middle wide open right now. Barkley spinning to try to get open underneath. Couldn't do so. McCormick gets tangled up. Barkley on a follow shot. It's not going to count. We have a foul before the shot. Going to be on McCormick. So McCormick draws his second.
Tim made a good move in there. Gilmore did not go for the fake. Tim just tried to power it in over people and called for the foul.
Does Robertson have room? He drives in along the baseline, and he steps on the baseline. Bobby Weiss not happy with. He thought Alvin was fouled on that play, I believe. First quarter, 5.5 minutes remaining. Cheeks, as we mentioned, with 18 assists against the Spurs first time around. Barkley can't get free of Greenwood at all.
Greenwood doing an outstanding job.
Maurice Cheeks hits from the outside, his second field goal. Sixers still down by 4, but it's true that Greenwood has been all over Barkley and has actually kept the ball away from him. Here's a steal by Cheeks, and he's all alone. A breakaway for Cheeks.
And you can't put that lazy pass out there with Maurice Cheeks around. He's relentless on the defense.
Sixers down by 6 a moment ago, have come back to 4 to score 4 straight points. It's 14-12 right now. Now Hinson guards Greenwood. Cheeks plays Sunvold. Here's a steal by Barkley. Consecutive steals. Ahead to Cheeks, races on Sundvold. Score it! Back-to-back steals and hoops for the Sixers.
And when your offense is not going too well, that's the best way to get back in it. Couple quick steals.
6 straight points by the Sixers to tie it at 14 all.
This is strictly a two-man game. They put the other players in isolated situations.
Gilmore goes with a running hook shot. Left-hander by Gilmore. 16-14 San Antonio. The Spurs are just barely over 500 here at home. They are 14-13 in the hemisphere. Danny Brains comes on for the Sixers. He replaces Tim McCormick. The Sixers do not have Cliff Robinson tonight, so the rotation is different once again. Now Barkley gets the ball. Hinson. And it's good for Hinson, his first field goal of the game.
And this matchup now with Hinson against Artis Gilmore. Hinson, if he's hitting his outside shot, should be very effective against Artis. Of course, Hinson will have a problem with Artis down low.
And it looks like the Spurs want to go to him. Roy knocks the ball away. Timer down to 7. Timer at 4. Sundvold shoots with 2 and misses. And it's going to be San Antonio ball. Well, we want to thank our producer, Charlie Stopak, who took Matt Gukas and a couple of his dearest friends out to dinner last night to celebrate Matty's 43rd birthday. Nice going, Charlie.
The dearest friends, huh?
Berry's shot is no good, but he's been fouled. Danny Brains on the personal foul. Frank Burkowski coming on for San Antonio.
This is a very good move here. Berry is very good with those spin moves and difficult for players to defend that type of move. What has to happen, of course, is you need help on a play like that.
So here's Berry, who was the Sporting News College Player of the Year in '86. He averaged 23 points last year as a member of the St. John's team. And a 10-point first quarter for Sir Walter. 18-16 San Antonio. Brains bobbles but scores. Danny Brains comes off the bench to get 2, and the Sixers have tied it again. There's Burkowski out of Penn State. They got him in that Michael Thompson trade from the Lakers. Robertson shoots. It is up and around and good. He's been slumping lately, but Robertson picks up his first field goal.
You see the difference in the Spurs when Gilmore goes out. They go more into a motion-type offense where a lot of cutting and moving.
Cheeks sees a chance to drive on in, no good, but Hinson follows and scores.
Whenever a guard penetrates to the basket, it draws the other defenders. That allows the other bigger players to go to the boards, and as we saw in that situation.
A 20-all tie underneath the Robertson, moves on Tony. No good. Hinson has it knocked away, but Barkley there to recover. 2.5 minutes left in the quarter. Barkley.
You can see why the Spurs are having trouble. They just are not a good defensive team.
And the Sixers lead 22-20. You can win big cash prizes by playing True Value Score Call. If you know the halftime score when Bob Bradley calls, you'll be a winner. Pick up your entry blanks at any True Value hardware store. Spurs put it back in action once again. Number 24, Johnny Dawkins, is in there for San Antonio now. This is Robertson. Good. Tie game again. We've had a lot of ties already. Now we're inside the 2-minute mark of the first quarter. Andrew Toney. Lob pass for Hinson. They've been working that play a lot. And a foul on Burkowski.
And that play is effective because the Spurs are coming to a front in that situation. That allows that lob over pass. Burkowski did get him with the body.
So Hinson returns to the free throw line where he went 1 for 2 earlier. Hinson with 17 points, 8 rebounds against the Spurs back in November. Sixers put a little pressure on here. Spurs get the ball up front. Spurs also got a player, Peter Goodmanson, from the Lakers. He has an injury right now and is not going to play for a while, maybe not this year. There's a hook shot by Penn State's Burkowski.
And they don't know a whole lot about Goodmanson. They figure he has a chance to be a player, but they have to wait and see what's going to happen this summer.
They also got 2 draft choices and a sizable amount of cash in that trade, rumored to be as much as $500,000.
And Andy, I was told that it looked like cash was a big part of that deal, but I was told that cash played very little importance in that deal, and it was under $500,000.
Matty Gukas and Bobby Weiss, both ex-Sixer players, coaching this game tonight. Tony. Andrew hits his first field goal. Tony has a string of 4 straight 20-plus efforts. And the Sixers lead 25-24. A minute to play here in the opening quarter. Robertson from the outside. Around and no good. Barkley's rebound. Charles leading the NBA at 14 rebounds a game. Cheeks pass inside, almost broken up. Does go out of bounds. It'll be Sixer ball. Mitchell got a hand on it.
The Spurs really didn't think that Michael Thompson was helping their team all that much. He was shooting a very low percentage. And so that's one reason why they made the trade. Plus, he's one of the few players they have to trade.
Cheeks on a running one-hander, and he's fouled. And he winds up on the seat of his pants. He's going to also wind up at the foul line.
Cheeks is so good taking the ball to the basket. He just has a way of knifing in through the lane. It reminds me a lot of Lenny Wilkins, the way he used to be able to just knife through there and draw the contact.
Free throw for Cheeks makes it 28-24, the Sixers' biggest lead. So we've already had a 10-point swing in this game from Spurs up 6 to the Sixers by 4. Almost stolen by Barkley. Greenwood traveled after he caught it. They don't call it, though, but he did. Dawkins' shot from the corner is no good. Over the top, it's Sixer ball.
The Sixers have really been applying pressure. The Spurs are having great difficulty in getting into any type of offense because of the pressure applied by the Sixers.
Sixers with Cheeks and Tony at guard. Barkley and Hinson at forward, and Danny Brains. 10 seconds left. Sixers trying to get the last shot. Punched away by Burkowski, who has picked up 2 quick fouls since coming in the game. 4 seconds left in the period. Hinson to the hoop, and a slammer with 1 second to go. Dawkins from beyond midcourt. That's the end of 1 quarter tonight, with the Sixers leading the Spurs 30-24. Gene Shue here at courtside. Larry Krystowiak from Montana is coming into the game for San Antonio. He wears number 42. Big guy, he's 6'10". He was drafted by Chicago. Also coming in, number 11, Anthony Jones, who was acquired by the Washington Bullets on a pick from the 76ers and then was later cut. Nearly stolen. It is stolen. Barkley got it free. Cheeks picks it up, beats Barkley for a slammer, and the Sixers are up by 8.
I love that dunk when he gets in there. He throws that ball in there with such viciousness. Great, great dunk.
With gusto, right?
Why not?
So the Sixers had been down by 6. They now lead by 8, and here's double-team pressure for the Sixers. And another steal, I think. No, Dawkins gets it back and knocks Barkley down, and there's going to be a push. Foul is on Wingate. Foul is called against Wingate.
Of course, Charles, he didn't foul at all in that play. What hustle.
David Wingate, by the way, coming off a game where he had 13 points in 18 minutes Monday in Atlanta. Dawkins trying to put a stutter move on Cheeks, can't get him out of the track. Anthony Jones tied up by Wingate. Burkowski, and the ball slips away, and Barkley picks it out of the air. Barkley, oh my golly, what an off-balance move. He was pushed. He's lucky he wasn't hurt on that play.
I thought Charles was going right out the door on that.
Watch this.
This is really a good play. Charles was really off balance. Even though he was off balance, he was on balance because he didn't fall down. Most players would have fallen down in that situation.
Foul was on Krystowiak.
The Sixers have really taken control of this basketball game with their defense. Of course, the Spurs, right now, they don't have what you call a real post-up player in the game, so they have to do everything with movement. The Sixers have been overplaying the passing lanes and doing an outstanding job stealing the basketball. The Spurs have not been able to get into their offense.
No Sixer has been able to hit 2 at the line tonight. Everybody's gone 1 for 2. And the pass from Krzysztofiak was blocked, but it goes to Dawkins. Here's Mitchell making a move. Running one-hander is no. Followed up, and it is good for Mitchell. And he's been fouled on the play by Henson.
Mitchell, who is a very good outside shooter, doesn't take the ball to the hoop ball that much, just stays right with it. You always have the advantage when you're in so tight and you shoot the basketball because you know where the ball is going to come down. Mitchell knew the ball was going to come off the rim in a certain way, was able to put it back up and in.
Krzysztofiak, after playing just 2 minutes, is out of the game, and Walter Berry is back in there.
I would have had trouble with his name anyway, so.
So you're glad he's
yeah,
out?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's got I couldn't spell it. I can say it, but I can't spell it. Inside to Henson, makes a twist and a turn and a score. Beautiful for Henson. He's got 10 points.
And that lob over pass really works. You've got to have weak side help, and they're not giving the weak side help at this point.
Sixers again by 8 points. Mitchell for a jumper, banks it up no good, and Drains really got up for that rebound. Barkley low post left. Mitchell bumping him, pass to Cheeks. Up and good as he banged up against Brakowski, scored anyway. 13 points in the game for Maurice Cheeks, and the Sixers by 10. Spurs. Former Sixer Moses Malone and those Washington Bullets to battle the Sixers. The Converse Shoe Company will be giving out a limited edition of Dr. J posters to the first 6,000 youngsters 16 years of age and under.
The Sixers are 16 for 21, getting all easy shots.
The Spurs have restored Gilmore to the lineup because things were going better when he was in there. Dawkins no good, but recovered by Robertson.
Come on, Robertson, get it together.
Here's Mitchell. He'll get a shot. No good, and rebounded by Vrains. And the Sixers are doing a pretty good job on the boards, too. 11-5, they're winning the boards. Henson and the Sixers go up by 12.
And because their defense is aggressive, they're rebounding the ball well. They're able to get fast break after fast break, just wide open layups.
About the only phase of the game that isn't great so far is free throw shooting.
Now, what kind of shot is that? That is an incredible offensive move by Berry.
Walter Berry, and he now has 12 points. Henson a little off target with that one, and the rebound to Mitchell, well off balance as he rebounded, but hung on to it. How about this for dazzling ball handling, and Barkley scores. Sixers ahead 41-29. We've got the possibility of a blowout here tonight. We say possibility because it's awfully early, but sometimes you can see some early signs of that. Dawkins to the hoop. No good. Barkley for a rebound and clear out pass to Cheeks.
And why this is happening, the Spurs guards, because of the offense that they're running, motion-type offense, their guards are getting stuck underneath the basket, and that's allowing the Sixers to break out and get some easy baskets. It's
now a 14-point bulge for the Sixers. They go to Gilmore. He's hit some hook shots. And goaltending. Strom was going to call a foul, but now he calls the goaltend.
And Charles goes into his hugging act with the Earl Strom. This is one of the real great moves that Artis Gilmore has. He fakes like he's going to take it to the basket, keeps his pivot foot in place, usually gets the defensive player up in the air.
The goaltend, of course, was Barkley, but the foul was on Henson, and Gilmore going to the line. Robertson. Henson for the rebound.
And Henson has really been playing well, Andy.
He has been, that's right, and the Sixers have needed it. Right now at midcourt, Tim McCormick waiting to return to the game. Here's Wingate. He's putting in more and more minutes now that he's recovering from the flu. Timer at 4, 3, 2. Shot did not beat the buzzer. It's a 24-second violation for the Sixers. Now McCormick back in for the Sixers, and he's going to spell Henson.
The Spurs in that situation really had good defense, but that was one of the few times they've had recently where they've had a chance to set up.
Greenwood back to work. Danny Brains clears ahead to Cheeks. Maurice whistles one in from the outside, and it's a 17-point game for Cheeks. He has outscored everybody. The Sixers lead 45-31. Andrew Toney is also set to come back. Greenwood is off target. The Spurs are not hitting a very good percentage. They're getting decent shots. No good for McCormick. Rebounded by Greenwood. Robertson bangs into Brains. They're going to call Brains on a foul.
Here, Robertson on this play really likes to take the ball to the basket. He tried to penetrate the baseline, was fouled. Cut off at the corner.
Sunvold to make the inbound pass for the Spurs. Andrew Toney back in for the Sixers now. Sunvold takes it, no good. Rebounded by Brains, knocked away from him. Loose ball foul goes on Robertson. Now they've called Greenwood, not Robertson. Greenwood on that foul.
The two-day rest has obviously helped the Sixers. They look fresh, look very aggressive out here tonight.
Johnny Moore coming in the game. He hasn't played much at all lately. Has been a do not play in 12 of the last 15. Ed Neely, number 32, comes on, so the Storm troops are out early for Bobby Weiss tonight.
And Bob Weiss seems to think he could have a pretty good team if Moore could only come back to his form.
Toney fights down low, gets double teamed, gives it up to Brains. He gives it up to McCormick, and McCormick is fouled.
This is good passing here with Brains to McCormick. Looked like both players could have had the ball in that situation.
They call that foul on Gilmore. Well, McCormick with 16 points against the Spurs back in that November game at the Spectrum. In that game, by the way, Johnny Moore was a starter for San Antonio. Now it's 46-31 favor the Sixers. Gilmore makes the turn-in move, gets his own rebound. No, Brains got a piece of it, gets another one. This time Gilmore has been fouled. Danny Brains on the personal, and Danny is upset.
Gilmore has always been a very good offensive rebounder when he gets the ball in tight like that. He's so strong, has strong upper body. Just show you how he can just rebound the ball. Finally got the ball up in the basket. Well, was fouled.
Brains was unhappy about the foul being called on him. Barkley said something to him in a hurry, and Danny immediately quit complaining. Maybe Barkley said, I did it, but you take it.
I don't blame him.
Anyway, Brains is the first player in the game to pick up his third, and that's no good.
Well, I'm sure that's why he was upset. Players don't like to get their third foul. Usually means you're coming out of the game.
Especially this early. Brains works to try to get to before he leaves, but he can't do it, and Gilmore's got the ball. Sixers by 13 right now. Robertson. Five and a half minutes remaining in the first half, and the Spurs making a bit of a comeback here as they have scored the last 4 points. Pass is tipped. Out of bounds. It'll be Sixer ball with 8 seconds on the timer.
They wanted to double team Toney right away to get the ball out of his hands on that set play. Andrew found the open player. They had a guy wide open, just didn't complete the pass.
Robertson, who leads the league in steals, nearly got that one. Timer down to 2-1. Barkley's shot. Another 24-second violation. Couldn't beat the clock. Boy, that's rare when you see a team getting called for that twice. Here's Johnny Moore with the ball. Desert fever was his problem. A rare disease. And now Matt Gukas calls timeout as Barry hit. 5 minutes to play first half. Sixers ahead 46-37. You can win big cash prizes if you know the halftime score when Bob Bradley calls you. Pick up your entry blanks at a True Value hardware store. This portion of the game brought to you in part by the Bell of Pennsylvania Yellow Pages. We wrote the book. Well, the Spurs have scored 6 in a row right here. And so the Sixers took a timeout. Tony drives underneath, throws it up, hits the underside of the rim, gets his own rebound. Lots of arms in there, and the Spurs take it away. Johnny Moore. And no harm done there. Here come the Sixers again. Cheeks to Barkley. Score that, baby. And we've got a foul on Johnny Moore. That's 4 team fouls on San Antonio.
This was off of a deflected pass. Just Charles, again, the being in the right place at the right time. He's out there running, hustling on the break. The ball was slapped away, falls right in his hands. You get those passes when you hustle.
Charles taking a little blow here. A piece of paper had fallen on the court at the other end, and one of the refs went back to pick it up.
The Sixers are shooting 71% in this game. The Spurs only 43%.
Sixers are not shooting 71% from the foul line, I'll bet you. Robertson, baseliner, no. And Tony picks it up. Sixers ahead here by 11. Barkley a little stutter step. Tony, no good, and a rebound for Gilmore. San Antonio had a real big winning streak right before the All-Star break. Then everything went sour for them.
They had that winning streak because they were shooting over 50% during that stretch.
Tony leads the fast break.
All the players were really playing well. Since they've come back after the All-Star break, they've been shooting around 45%, and they've slumped as a team.
How do you think Mike Mitchell feels? He was injured and hardly played in that streak at all. He comes back and they start to lose.
Yeah.
Robertson.
He's handled it real well. He's been coming off the bench, really not playing all that much. The guy was a fine offensive player.
Sixers by 11, just over 3 minutes to play first half. Cheeks can't shake himself from more. Robertson guarding Tony. Andrew with contact. He's been knocked down. He's been fouled, and that'll put the Spurs in the penalty.
On this play, he tries a spin move and runs right into Neely, and Neely gets called for the foul.
Despite the fact that Danny Brains has 3 personals, he is coming back in the game now, spelling Barkley. Tony 82% on the line. Uh-oh, things are really going bad when Andrew can't hit him. No Sixer has hit 2 for 2 in this game tonight. So it's 51-39 with 3 minutes to play first half. Here's Neely. What a success story. He was an 8th round draft choice. Cut a couple of times, and here he is still getting a paycheck in the NBA.
And the guy is probably the best passer on the team. He's big and strong, good passer. We're watching Artis work. He has that great step where he's faked out most of the centers in the league and then is able to double back with the ball and get it into the basket. He usually hits this shot.
On the Sixer bench, Charles Barkley just got up and volunteered to come back in the game, and Matty said, no, not just yet. You sit down. Well, they can't make free throws either. That's good news. Oh, here's the ball stolen and picked up by Robertson. So San Antonio gets it back. To Gilmore, who bobbles but scores. 10 points for Artis, and it's a 10-point lead for Philadelphia, 51-41. Inside, ball poked free, but it comes back to Cheeks. 7 on the timer. 5 on the timer. Tony under pressure, no. Rebounded by Barry, and we hear a whistle. Sixer foul going to be called on the play. It's on McCormick, and that'll be his third.
The Spurs are really playing aggressive tonight. They're out there working hard. The ball was loose up in the air there. A lot of contact made when the ball was loose and a foul was called.
So Timmy comes out of the game, and Charles Barkley does, in fact, return. And Walter Berry out of St. John's will go to the free throw line. Barkley with the 11 points.
Now, Barry's not normally a good free throw shooter, and really is not what you call an outside shooter. He's got an inside game, you know, with those spin moves, but he's hitting his free throws tonight.
Spurs had been down by 15. It's now 51-43. Illegal defense, the call. And Earl Strom says, let me handle it, Matt. I'll call it.
And that was a classic illegal defense because the player did not aggressively go double team the ball.
And how come Bobby doesn't look like he agrees with that?
Coaches, they're always unhappy, you know that.
Does the coach's handbook tell you how to react to an official's call?
Yes, the coach's guide.
What page is that on?
Page 97 in the coach's guide. I remember those things.
Yeah.
I remember that kind of trivia.
We'll test you at halftime tonight. 18 points for Cheeks. Sixers ahead 52-43. We have 2 minutes to play in the first half.
Now the Spurs have done a good job when they get their defense set. It's that flurry they had there where they just weren't getting people back on the defense that killed them.
Yeah, the Sixers had a lot of fast break baskets there for a while.
2 minutes.
That was an offensive foul, Andy called on Andrew Toney.
So Toney picks up his second, and it'll be turnover number 7 on the Sixers. Gilmore with Hinson. And Artis has hit a couple of those hook shots tonight. He has a dozen points.
Artis is very effective down there. He does have some difficulty when teams just swarm all over him like they do nowadays.
So here he is in the first half, having already matched his average. Artis averaging 11 points a game. Toney baseliner, no good. Hinson pokes it into the air. Cheeks gets it. And the Sixers got a fresh 24. San Antonio has cut the lead in half, though. They trail by 15. It's down to 7. Sixer ball. Spurs have outscored the Sixers here 15-6. Now Barkley rumbles inside. Hinson in and out. Barkley's rebound and a whistle. And a Sixer foul. So on Barkley.
Charles looked like he carried the ball in that situation. He probably had his pivot feet okay. But here, Charles, again, very aggressive going after the basketball. Earl Strom spotted a foul.
Strom has a case of cabin fever. He says he's been here 3 days and it's been raining the entire time. So Earl's coming out and calling some fouls tonight because he's been cooped up all that time.
San Antonio is a nice town. Of course, I love Mexican food, so they have lots of that stuff here.
Mi Tiara.
Yeah.
We had fun today at Mi Tiara. And your tiara, too. 52-46 with less than a minute to go here in the first half of activity. We're late because of the ceremonies honoring Doc. San Antonio ball. And the Sixers have a flat period here.
Yeah, the Spurs are an entirely different team when their defense is set.
Johnny Moore bringing it up for the Spurs, who climb back into it. Berry down the lane with a floater. And now the Spurs have pulled to within 4, from 15 down to just 4 down. Half minute to go in this quarter, and the Sixers will be glad to get into the locker room and put this one behind them. Trying to use the clock a little here. Down to 5. 2 24-second violations have been called against them tonight. Ball goes out of bounds with 1 second to go. They'll put the clock back at 5, and Matt Gukas takes a 20-second timeout.
And that was perfect defense on the part of the Spurs that time, Andy. The fact that they were able to double team at the proper time.
We've got your seat at center court for more basketball action when the Sixers battle the Dallas Mavericks tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. Right here on Channel 17, the great entertainer.
And we're watching Walter Berry, who just has a outstanding touch when he gets in close to the basket. Some guys really have a knack for getting the ball in the basket. Berry obviously is one of those people.
Sixers have gone with a 7-man rotation here in the first half tonight, with only Brains and Wingate coming off the bench. Channel 17, WPHL TV, Philadelphia. Hinson way off target with that shot. 4 seconds for the Spurs. Here's Johnny Moore with Tony. And so, with that basket, we have a 2-pointer here at halftime. It's going to count. And the Spurs, who are down by 15, have whittled it back to 2. That's the end of the first half with the score. Sixers 52, Spurs 50. Stay tuned for center court with...
Really something, I know it.
Did you cheat or do you know it?
No, you can't fool me tonight. I know this answer.
All right, this is what former Big Five player was a teammate of Doc's in his rookie year.
Yeah, a really good defensive player, not an offensive player. Fatty Taylor.
Nice going.
I remember that.
Who played at LaSalle, right?
Played at LaSalle.
Very good, Gino. You're coming on as the season goes along. And we invite you to send your questions to the address on the screen so as maybe you can stump Gene Shue at halftime. Travel arrangements made through Eastern Airlines. Whether you're traveling to Florida for spring training or a spring vacation, chances are Eastern's going your way. Eastern, the one to the sun. Well, I guess when you shoot 59% in the first half, you ought to be leading at halftime, wouldn't you think?
You should be leading by more. The problem is the Sixers were only 8 for 15 from the foul line, which really hurt them.
A couple of nice individual marks here. Maurice Cheeks with 7 assists. Charles Barkley 6 rebounds. 2 players in the game have not missed a shot. Walter Berry 7 for 7. He has 19 points. And Charles Barkley is 5 for 5. And Maurice Cheeks missed only 1 shot. He is 8 out of 9 with 18 points to lead the 76ers. A great first half for Cheeks.
A great first half. The difference in the game in the first half, the Spurs just did not get back on defense for a stretch in the game, and the Sixers were really getting rather easy shots. Once the Spurs got back on defense, their defense was good. They played a very strong defensive game, helping each other out. Their rotations were good. Very, very steady. So the Sixers in the second half are going to have to get right out of the gate and see if they can't get the break started again.
That one stretch that you made reference to, Gene, I think they had a lot of their regulars out of the lineup, and I believe Gilmore was on the bench when that occurred, wasn't he?
Gilmore was on the bench, and that's when we talked about them running their motion offense. The Sixers made a couple steals, really took control at that point.
Washington beat Indiana 100-94 tonight. If the playoffs started right now, the Sixers would be up against the Atlanta Hawks and would not have the home court advantage. That would be very difficult, wouldn't it?
I think what's going to happen as we get later on into the season, these positions are going to change quite a bit, I think. All those teams that we're talking about are going to be very, very tough.
What changes are you looking for?
Well, I'm not sure, for example, that Detroit will win their division. I think Milwaukee has a real shot at that. There could be a change with Atlanta and Detroit, for example. Detroit has a very tough last part of the schedule, a lot of road games.
Well, the Sixers shot 20 of 23 from the line against the Spurs the last time they played them. They will not be so lucky in this one here tonight. Here we go for the second half. And it's Sixers up by just 2, but the Spurs have a shot at tying it right here. Sunvol from the outside. No, in fact, they had a chance at a lead. That was a 3-point try. Greenwood, no. And the ball taken by the Sixers. It's Barry, Greenwood, Gilmore, Robertson, and Sunvol for the Spurs. Tony outside try. Around and no good. Barkley, Hinson, McCormick, Cheeks, and Tony for the Sixers. Tony with the steal. No, he's been fouled. Barry on the personal.
Very good play by Andrew Toney. Just kind of like hung in there, was able to get the steal, He actually was going to force Sundvold into a walking situation. Andrew came right out firing, was able to get his rebound, and got fouled on the second shot.
Here's Andrew, 1 for 2 on the line tonight. Cheeks, the only Sixer who went to the line in the first half who didn't miss.
The Spurs ran a very good play, the opening play. It's what we call a curl. The guard just curls off of the center, in this case off of Gilmore. Once that guard curls, Gilmore is able to take a deep post position. They made the entry pass, and he threw it back out. Sundvold missed the shot.
Tony, the first Sixer to make a pair at one time at the line tonight. Berry faked, and then the ball got away from him. He just lost it. Cheeks picks it up and makes the layup. So the Sixers have a 6-point lead, 56-50. Bobby Weiss in his rookie year as coach of the Spurs. Longtime assistant, first with Gene Shue, later with Dick Motta. Robertson. In the first half, Robertson was 4 for 8.
Robertson, if he would become a consistent outside shooter, like some of the great shooters in the league, he's a terrific player right now. He could be even more effective.
Andrew Toney blocked by Gilmore. Picked out of there by Berry. Sundvold to Greenwood on the run. And the Spurs get a break going, and they trail now by 2 again, 56-54.
Greenwood has always been an interesting player, an excellent rebounder. Just has not had real good offensive years.
McCormick makes the pass into Cheeks, and Marie scores. Cheeks, the Sixer leading scorer, now with 22 points. Toney guards Robertson. No good, and Sixer ball.
Does Berry look like he drags his left leg, or is it his right leg?
When he came out, walking on the floor, he was doing that shuffle. Looks like he was dragging both of them. I can't tell.
Yeah.
Now they clear aside for Charles. Going to go to work. Robertson over to help. Toney, Greenwood switches off. McCormick, timer at 5. Henson with 2, and he hits. Roy Henson, who shot 5 for 8 in the first half. 60-54, Philadelphia. 9:30 to play third quarter. We'll be back again tomorrow night against those Dallas Mavericks, who have won 4 in a row. Sundvold no good. Dallas with a 4.5 game lead over Utah in the Midwestern Division. Barkley for 3. Way off target. McCormick tipped up by Henson. Cheeks has it. Henson in the lane. Good. Sixers had 4 shots at it.
On that last situation, the ball was loose in the lane there. Berry didn't know whether to go after it or Robertson. They both didn't get it.
San Antonio will take timeout. 8:47 left third quarter, and it's Sixers 62, Spurs 54. Radio. The Sixers and the Nets in heavyweight boxing next Saturday night. Berry in the lane. He hits. Berry with the field goal. 62-56. Berry has not missed a shot in this ball game. Barkley looking for somebody to move. Lob into Henson. Hook shot is good for Roy.
It took a long time to get that started, but if you never get the ball to the right player, as Charles did, that counts.
Johnny Moore into the game now for San Antonio. He hadn't been playing at all. 4 straight games he had not seen a minute's worth of action. He's 0-0 out there. Now Barkley set up on the other side. To Henson. Ball gets away from Roy, and the Sixers have lost it. Turnover number 8 on the Sixers. Bobby Weiss. Greenwood right up against Henson, no good, and a rebound for the Sixers. Cheeks seems to play his best ball against San Antonio. He's had good scoring game and a high assist game. Here's Toney coming to life. Andrew has 9 points. Sixers take a 10-point. Sixers led in the first half by 15. San Antonio whittled it back to 2 just before halftime. Berry falls down, makes a bad pass. Tony ahead to Cheek, score it. Sixers have had quite a few easy baskets tonight.
Yeah, this is more like that stretch.
Timeout, 6:50 left to play in the quarter. Sixers lead 68-56. Number 2, Cheeks outstole number 1 Robertson in the first half, 3-2.
Both those guys are great at it.
Into the game for the Spurs now, number 34, Mike Mitchell. Trying to go to Gilmore, get it to him. Artis goes in gear. He's been fouled by McCormick, and Timmy Mack draws number 4.
McCormick is there saying, what do you want me to do? I'm stationary. I'm just standing there. I'm not doing anything. Artis is just moving around, bumping into me, and they called the foul on me. What did I do?
So he gets number 4, and they're going to bring Brains into the game now, and he's already got 3. Sixers really handicapped by the lack of another big man. And Robinson not here tonight. Eye bothering him again, so McCormick to the bench. And Gilmore goes 0 for 2. Second time tonight he has done that. Neither team really lighting up the scoreboard at the free throw line tonight. Johnny Moore playing tough against Cheeks. Tony double team. Traveling. Well, great defense by San Antonio in that sequence.
This is why Robertson is so good. He really can harass you. Always looking for the ball. Good position defense created the turnover.
And a delay of the game warning against the 76ers. Here's Mitchell. Johnny Moore feeds inside. Robertson with the shot. No good. Yes, it is good.
That's a lesson for every young player. Get that ball up high and soft on that rim with good spin, good rotation on that ball.
14 for Robertson. Spurs hanging in there. Johnny Moore's shot is blocked, and here come the Sixers. Fast break chance. Barkley to Cheeks to Tony. Good. Sixers by 12.
Johnny Moore used to do that so well, being able to take that ball coast to coast on the drive. Just didn't have a finish on that play.
5.5 minutes remaining third quarter, and the Sixers up by a dozen, trying to regain their first half status when they led by 15. No good for Robertson. Here come the Sixers again. Offensive foul on Tony, giving an elbow underneath. Number 3 on Tony. They've got Tony for 2. We had him on our chart for 3. We better double check that. Johnny Moore looks it over. Here's Mitchell. He puts it in.
He shoots a lot of those high floating jump shots. Very quick release.
Now Terry Durham has blown the whistle underneath the basket again. What's the call here?
Technical foul, and I guess on Andrew Tony.
Andrew leaving the game now as David Wingate comes on. He has not been ejected, but he did say something before he left. He was about to come out anyway, and Terry Durham didn't want to hear it. Steve Coulter inquiring just exactly what was going on out there. Mitchell misses the conversion of the tee. Coming in now, Anthony Jones, number 11 from Nevada, Las Vegas. He'll be in for Robertson. Sixers by 10 at 70-60. On again tomorrow night from Dallas. That game is sold out. The Mavericks are 36-19. Here's Jones. Johnny Moore. And the veteran, Johnny Moore out of Texas, who has been troubled by that desert fever, puts it in.
I sure would like to see him come back. He really was an effective basketball player.
He is still undergoing treatment. The treatments are down to every 6 weeks now. Had his last one in early February. Maurice Cheeks with a big ball game. That's 26 for Maurice. 4 minutes left to play third quarter. Mitchell gets closed off by Brains, but hits anyway. Very tough shot for Mitchell. Henson raises up.
Henson is effective because he can hit that outside shot. With Gilmore playing him, he takes him to the outside, takes away a lot of the rebounding of the Spurs.
Henson averages 14 points a game. He's hit for 20 tonight. Here's a steal by Barkley. Picked it right off and goes on a rumble and lost the ball.
Charles, in one of those rare moments, took his eye off the basketball. The ball just bounced up. He lost control.
Well, a year ago, Charles led the NBA in turnovers. He's cut down on them this year, although he's still up there among the leaders. Gilmore gets a close range, and it goes in. Gilmore, of course, is the second top percentage shooter in the league, hitting at 60%, and shots like that give him the good percentage.
Selected shots.
At close range. Henson again. No good. Barkley pokes at it. Ball goes out of bounds, and it's San Antonio ball. Coming in now for San Antonio, number 43, Frank Burkowski. He'll spell Gilmore. There's Burkowski. Recently acquired from the Lakers in the Michael Thompson deal. 2.5 minutes left third quarter. Greenwood down at the baseline. Goes past Barkley. Rebounded by Charles. Uh-oh.
Was that an uh-oh?
That was an uh-oh. Definitely. Looks like Charles might be getting a little tired.
Charles was going through his options on the break there. He wasn't sure what he wanted to do. He had some people out on the wing. He was deciding whether to pass the ball or not. Lost it.
That shouldn't have been one of them.
That's right.
Sixers by 8. Less than 2 to play third quarter. Burkowski. What's he doing? That ball was tipped. Ed Neely out of Kansas State returning now for the Spurs.
Burkowski, according to Bob Weiss, is a good defender. He knows how to play defense. He knows what he's doing.
Timer down to 5. Johnny Moore, no. Rebounded by Jones. Blocked by Barkley to Cheeks. And Maurice does not force the fast break. He is so smart. Wingate in the game. First half, Wingate played 12 minutes, did not take a shot. Stolen from Henson, and a 2-on-0 break. Jones.
Anthony Jones.
Stand right there, Gene.
Anthony Jones is a good defensive player.
So now the Sixers take time. 1:11 to play.
Pick up a player that isn't doing so well some other place, but he just makes that group work, and that's what's happened in Dallas.
James Donaldson has become the top rebounder in the Western Conference of the NBA, and that's quite a tribute. Here's the top rebounder overall. Barkley thinks about 3 to Wingate. Knocked away from Wingate, and he lost it. That's 13 turnovers on the Sixers.
To finish that point, Donaldson, when he was in San Diego and other places, Seattle, he was called on to score. That wasn't the strength of his game. He's showing what the strength of his game is now.
I noticed that the Mavericks used a very tight rotation in their game against Sacramento last night, with all of their starters playing at least 36 minutes. And now the Spurs give it up. Here's a 3-on-2 Sixer break. Barkley. Neely got him. Charles wanted that field goal, but didn't get it. Neely on the foul.
They found the open man here. Charles, when he catches the ball in that situation, he's just going to take it to the basket. He just tried to out-muscle Neely and did.
Barkley is only 1 for 3 at the line tonight. He has not scored in the third quarter. Charles was a little unhappy with his game in Atlanta Monday night. I don't think at this moment he's going to be really thrilled with this one yet either. 1 out of 2 for him, and the Sixers lead it 75-68. Half minute to go, third quarter. Remember, our game tomorrow night starts a half hour earlier. We'll be on at 8 o'clock. Anthony Jones. No, it spills out, and Barkley's got it. Now let's see if the Sixers can hold for one good shot here. The timer's been turned off. 10 seconds left in the quarter. Hinson with 2 seconds showing. That's the end of 3 quarters with the score, Sixers 77.
Ball out there. Hinson took too much time in the lane area.
Here's Johnny Moore, who's had quite a bit of playing time tonight. For some reason, they have not gone with Sunvold a great deal in this game. Here's a steal by Barkley. Oh, boy. A slammer, and K.P. Petty is going to win the starter jacket, and that's about it. It did not count. I beg your pardon. Strom said he was on the sideline. No basket, so K.P. Petty still has a chance. Terry Durham did not see whether Barkley had stepped on the sideline or not, but Strom saw it. Now a foul on Wingate. Just underway in the fourth quarter. Sixers have struggled but have managed to lead throughout this ball game. Spurs had an early 6-point lead. Robertson way short. Brakowski blocked by Brains. And we're going to have a foul called on Hinson.
What made all this possible? When you post up a player and he has that outside shot, in this case Robertson missed the outside shot, the ball became loose underneath the basket. Brakowski was able to pick it up on the loose rebound and get fouled. But you have to be able to hit those outside shots. When you're wide open in the pro game, you have to hit those shots.
Well, here's Brakowski, who played 2 years with Seattle, and then he was in Europe 3 years before that. And this year managed to make the Laker team as an extra.
An extra. You're Hollywood, aren't you? All the way. An extra.
How about that? Well, they have managed to stay in this game somehow. It's just a 7-point spread now. Wingate, he hangs it short, and the rebound to Neely. The men off the bench have done a fine job for these Spurs. They've gotten pretty good games from Moore and Neely and Brakowski. No good for Mitchell. Wingate gives it up off the drive to Cheeks. Wingate again. Beautiful athletic move. Barkley. No. Brains tips it in. And there was no foul. Gukas can't believe somebody wasn't fouled on that play. Sixers by 9. Brakowski. I'm not sure that's what they want him doing.
Brakowski is the right name, isn't it, Andy?
Yeah.
For bricks. They call Sunbold Sunny. I wonder if they call Brakowski Bricks. That would be
Bricky. Walter Berry, number 6, checking back in, and he is limping. Look at that. For the Sixers, Wingate comes out, and Tony is back in. Pass inside, tipped and stolen by the Sixers. And now traveling, as the Sixers couldn't pick it up cleanly, they get called on a travel. So the ball goes right back to the Spurs. We've only played 2 minutes of the final 12. K.P. Petty will get the starter jacket, and thanks for playing in our contest tonight. Robertson, double head fake and an air ball.
Go get him, Andrew!
Waiting for Barkley to cross midcourt. I think Charles is playing a little tired right now.
He should be, and he's played very, very hard.
And it's stolen by San Antonio. Johnny Moore takes it right on in. It's a 7-point game again. And the turnover starting to mount on the Sixers and hurting now as they have committed 3 more turnovers than San Antonio. They needed that outside shot, and Tony delivered it. Tim McCormick is ready to return for the Sixers.
That was a funny play.
Not so funny to Bobby.
No, Barry had the ball, and who was it? Neely or Brikowski? He just turned the wrong way and bounced it off his shoulder.
Artis Gilmore back for the Spurs, number 53. Artis and Doc were rookies the same year.
Yeah, Bob Weiss has a real tough job here. This team is in a rebuilding stage.
Tony again from the outside. Oh, he was right on that time, but Gilmore gets the rebound. 8.5 to go. Sixers lead it by 9. Johnny Moore, no! McCormick for the board. Duke is calling the play now for the Sixers. Tony with Robertson. Matty screaming for an illegal D. Tony shot, good. Tough one by Tony.
That's the value of having a one-on-one player who can just take the ball and score like Andrew Toney.
And the Sixers have managed to maintain some kind of a margin ever since the early moments of the first quarter. No good for Moore, and rebounded by Barkley. Charles' pass is intercepted. Robertson picks it off. He leads the league in steals, and he scores. That's only the second field goal for the Spurs here in the final 12 minutes. Cheeks gets the ball from McCormick, no good, but Cheeks has been fouled. 2-shot foul, says Strom. The foul is on Neely. 3rd foul on Neely. 1st team foul.
Cheeks on this play was able to come knife through the lane. He was able to get the ball up to the basket there. Charles was just following up the play, but the foul had already been called.
Maurice's top assist game of the year came against the Spurs, 18. And now 28 points for Maurice, one of his highest scoring games of the year. His high for the season is 31, career high 32. Sixers by 9. We'll be right back at you tomorrow night from Dallas. Berry and Hinson in for a flying foul.
What had happened on that play, Andy, Hinson had picked up the length of the floor, was putting pressure on the ball. He got back a little bit slow. The Sixers were a bit confused on who they were playing, and that allowed Berry to be wide open. He just took it to the hoop. No one was playing him.
Number 4 on Hinson. And Walter Berry out of St. John's. He was the 14th player taken in the draft this year. He came out as an undergraduate.
There were a lot of people that thought he should have stayed in school. He had an outstanding year in college. Figured he could do it all over again and be a much higher draft pick, but he wanted to get into the pro game.
And he was traded for Kevin Duckworth, who was not exactly a household name.
So he obviously made a mistake. When you're drafted 14th, there's some difference in the money compared to the top 5.
Pass inside, stolen by Robertson. He's got another one. Robertson behind the bag, and a beauty for Dawkins. What a pass by Robertson. A steal and an assist for Robertson. Now it's 85-78, the Sixers. Sixers trying to snap a 2-game losing streak. Cheeks lets it get away. Neely. Sixers are going to call timeout. when they get the ball up front. Timeout is coming. 6:13 remaining. Hinson to the lane, 10-footer. He's been fouled. Hinson will go to the line as he was bumped on the arm by Berry.
Berry in that situation was looking to play good defense, tried to jump with the shooter, slapped Hinson's wrist. Jumping with a shooter, that's what makes an effective defensive player, as long as you don't foul.
Now let's see if Hinson can actually sink 2 out of 2. It's been a good night for Roy. He's got 23 points.
Of course, tonight the Sixers have hurt themselves with turnovers. The
Turnovers and missed free throws.
Yeah, and the defense has had something to do with it, though, I think, too.
Well, they're up by 6 right now as we go into very nearly crunch time. We got 5+ to go. Very off-balance move, no good. And McCormick drags that one down. That did not look as smooth as some of the earlier tries by Berry tonight. Berry guards Hinson. Cheeks under pressure. It's an air ball, and Tony saves it in, but it goes to the Spurs, and here they come. Robertson.
Good defense, poor shot selection. With the guards on the baseline, it opens up the floor for guards to just take off and score.
And now it's just a 4-point game, 86-82 with 5 minutes to go. Barkley forces his way inside and forces in the field goal. That is Barkley's second field goal of the second half. And 14 by Charles tonight, who averages 23 to lead the Sixers. Gilmore. Only the second field goal of the second half for Big Artis.
Practically unstoppable when he catches the ball in that deep.
Tony battling Robertson. That's going to be an offensive foul.
Andrew, in like an isolated situation, really forced his way in there. Was looking to get fouled, committed the offensive foul.
So it's a 4-point game right now, and the Spurs have a chance to make some headway here. Here goes Gilmore forcing his way in again. No. And Barkley boards. Matty Gukas was upset with the way the Sixers had set up defensively there.
Their defense, I think Matty could have been afraid of getting his own defense, or illegal defense.
And here's a steal for the Spurs. Breakaway to Dawkins. 2-point game. 88-86. Boy, this thing really hasn't developed at all the way it looked like it was going to. Tony's shot is no good. Rebound Neely, and here come the Spurs with a chance to tie it up. Dawkins on a shake move. He stops. He nearly traveled. Robertson, short. And the Sixers stay in front as the rebound goes to Barkley.
That's where that outside shooting really counts.
Just over 3 minutes to play in a 2-point game. Tony, nothing doing at the baseline. Now he's got the shot. At the buzzer, it won't go. Barkley's rebound. He works. He jump ball. He's tied up.
Charles just springs in the air on this play. Looked like a good clean play.
Timeout, San Antonio. Let's see what happens here.
Charles is acting like he's going to get the tap. What you're supposed to do on jump balls is lock a player in so that the player can tap to the open spot.
But the Spurs win it. So will charge the Sixers with another turnover, and that's their 23rd. Now again, San Antonio a chance to tie it up. Johnny Dawkins makes the pass to Berry. Neely playing some very important minutes for San Antonio. Dawkins, high game. 88 all with 2.5 to go. Well, these Spurs look like they were going to be buried in the first half. Now we've got a foul underneath. 2:17 to go, stops the clock. Terry Durham spotted the foul.
Charles in this situation wants the ball badly. He wants Andrew to work off the screen over there on the weak side so he can get into a post-up position.
The foul was called on Berry. There goes Charles on Neely. No, it won't go in, and the Spurs have it. They are not going to force a running situation here. We hit the 2-minute mark, and it's a tie game. Well, this one would hurt to lose after the Sixers had the big lead. Robertson to Gilmore. Well off balance. He's been pushed. Gilmore has been pushed by who? Tony?
Tony
Number 4 on Andrew.
Yeah. Gilmore has such strength. McCormick, I think, is playing him very intelligently. He's staying down. Normally, Gilmore gets people to get up in the air. Looked like Gilmore forced the contact on that play.
So the Spurs have their first lead since the opening quarter. Here's David Greenwood returning.
And Bob Weiss gets Greenwood in the game. Greenwood being a better defensive player than Berry. Berry, of course, learning the league, a rookie player.
1 out of 2 for Gilmore. So it's 89-88. They're getting big minutes for San Antonio tonight. He's still out there right now.
He's out here primarily because he's been doing a pretty good job playing Barkley.
All right, here's the Sixers' chance to lead. We have 11,947 at the game tonight, and a steal by Robertson. Here he goes. Blocked by Barkley. Follow, no. Tipped up and good by Neely. Unbelievable. Just got done talking about him. 91-88. And a big dividend for Neely after the steal by Robertson and a couple of misses. Minute 18 to go. Tony for 3. In and out. And a rebound by Neely. Neely's taken over here. What a game for him. Boy, if the Spurs score here, they're going to be tough. And they go to Gilmore. Give it back out to Dawkins. Dawkins kept it. Timer did not reset. It's down to 5. Robertson. No good. Sixers still alive. And we've got a foul on the Sixers. No, I didn't either. I misread Strom's signal. It's going to go on San Antonio.
And that was their 4th foul. The Sixers not yet in the penalty.
Neely committing the foul. And the Sixers are going to take a timeout here. We've got 48 seconds to go. The Sixers down by 3.
The Sixers of getting the last shot at the basket. Unless, of course, they decide to shoot the 3-point shot.
McCormick will trigger the inbound, and the Spurs put Gilmore right out on him to make it tough. And that would make it tough. Down to the corner, Barkley goes for 3. He hits a 3 to tie the game.
What a great play.
Charles Barkley has tied it. It took only, 2 seconds to do that?
That was a great call by Matty. And how the play developed, it was a back pick set. The Spurs fouled up defensively. They had 2 players playing 1. Charles then ran along the baseline. The pass was there perfectly. Let's see if we can happen what happened before the play. Anyway, a great call. Charles had the 3-pointer. Now we have a tie game. And how much time elapses? Just a couple seconds off the clock.
Spurs take an immediate timeout. Barkley has not had a big scoring night. It's only 17 points for Charles. But that's one we're going to remember as it's tied now at 91, and the Sixers really needed that because it looked as though the Spurs were taking the play away from them.
They were, and you really have to be a competitor, Andy, to be able to hit.
Seconds to go. The Spurs have moved back up by 2, and it's pressure time on the Sixers. Seems like they've been in a lot of games like this. Coming down the wire with the Lakers was just like this.
This is a 2-man game.
Tony running one-hander, puts it in, tie game. 27 seconds left. Spurs. The inbound pass knocked away from Gilmore. Sixers have it. 25 seconds to go. A tie game. Sixers on the steal. Let's see what they can do with it.
And they're in great shape because now Tony can hold the ball and he can get his shot. Now what will happen, I'm sure they're going to double team the ball quickly.
Here they come after it. Pass to Barkley. 8 seconds to go. Charles behind the back, rumbles on in, whistle sounds. We're going to have a San Antonio foul, and it's on Sunbowl. 5 seconds to go. Barkley to the line for big free throws.
They ended up in a mismatch because they were double teaming the ball. Barkley's just too strong to take that ball through.
Bobby Weiss will do a slow burn on this one, I'll bet you. Oh, I don't think we should be reading lips there.
All right, here we are now. No timeouts. Only the 22nd timeout. There are only 5 seconds to go. Charles hits both of these or one of them. We have to be conscious of Dawkins. He has great speed. If they get the ball to him, he's got the ability to get it all the way to the basket in 5 seconds.
Somebody might fire up a three-pointer, too. You never know about that. Look at Charles. Big grin on his face. One out of two. Here come the Spurs. Win it or lose it. Robertson, it's in! Unbelievable! Robertson wins the game for San Antonio. That was a three-pointer for Robertson, and San Antonio wins it.
That was unbelievable. Robertson, not a real good outside shooter. The gods were with him tonight.
Barkley's free throw miss sets it up, and here's Robertson again. And that baby was clean as a whistle.
Andy, that is really a tough loss.
Sixers blowing a 15-point first-half lead to lose on a final desperation three-pointer by Robertson after Barkley had given him the lead, making one of two free throws. As it turns out, that second miss of the free throw by Barkley didn't cost him at all because they would have won it on the three-pointer in any event. But this is a tough loss for the 76ers.
Very tough loss, and everything happened perfect.